everyone, in this video, anti fraud expert Nilay Kumar will reveal how the fraud detection and mitigation industry evolved and explain why every company should have an anti-fraud system. Nilay is a senior business leader with more than 24 years experience in telecom, digital and allied ecosystem. He has worked with telecom operators like Airtel Corporate, Vodafone and Tata Teleservices, which is ingrained deep product knowledge before switching to business head roles, where he now works closely with telcos, aggregators, and partners globally. He is now very active in the fraud detection and management space and loves to talk about plugging the revenue leakages on account of various frauds. The industry actually evolved from, as you said, there is a process and there is definitely always an adjustment.
So if you want to look at how the fraud industry has really evolved, I would say probably there has been mass layoffs that we've been seeing. There is definitely a need of money for a lot of people. So I'm not looking at the typical black sheep here. So there are certain elements which have always been in this space, but there is a definitely a newer lot that has got added, to this industry because of so much of recession that has happened to it. And when you look at fraud from a perspective of investment versus returns, it's probably one of the industries where the returns can be massive with almost negligible investments. So I think that's a curve which has really happened in fraud, especially digital. When your spends are digital, you can do anything. You don't really have to be physically present anywhere. You don't need a location. You don't need a presence. You just need a virtual presence. So that's the evolution.
And how would you say hackers could use the information?
Many ways, Tatiana. So I will restrict myself to something which can impact a larger audience. So look at it this way. Suppose I'm able to steal your credentials. Now, I'm sure you're using some kind of a wallet, you're using some kind of an online payments which are there, which means you have a username, you have a password. Right? Now, if I could impersonate as you and initiate a transaction from my device with your user credentials, now is the backend system have those checks and balances to validate whether it is Tatiana who's initiating the transaction, or is it somebody who's impersonating as you, who's kind of initiating the transaction? So just having the user credentials may not be enough to really make those validations. It can lead to me stealing your account details. It can lead to hacking your account and stealing your personal information, which could be your photographs, your whatever that is there. It can lead to me getting into your bank account, and making funds transfer without you even getting to know about it.
How does your business help to solve these fraud issues?
What we do is, firstly, we look at fraud holistically, and we are integrated in each of the key milestones of the user lifecycle journey. Typical journey for any brand or an enterprise or a telco would start from a pre-acquisition to a user sign-up process or the onboarding, to the in-app transactions which are happening, and then the post-transaction part. So at every stage, we have very minutely looked at what are the issues that are being faced in terms of both the security and also the user experience. So now that's very important to point out, Tatiana, because we're not really a cybersecurity organization. We actually excel in marrying experience with security. Because typically, if you look at, there's always a conflict between higher acquisition and the kind of security thresholds that you want to build. They work against each other. So that is a riddle, that is a problem that we've tried to solve. And if it's a landing page or a website, we could have something as simple as a pixel that is deployed, at the backend, which fires with your, every time your landing page is open, and it allows us to check. So we, as in terms of our core capability, we have device fingerprinting that we excel in. So when I say device fingerprinting, it means that any traffic that's coming to your website or app, we can determine whether it is a genuine user which is visiting your landing page or your app, or whether this transaction that's coming in is being simulated by a bot or a tool, that is in place. And based on that, we can take a action that is mutually been decided with the client. That is the very overall, without going into the depth of each, because each and every piece could be different. But that is something that we do. And that philosophy of doing a fingerprint or a token gets carried right from the pre-acquisition to the post-transaction stage as well. So typically, the post-transaction, when you look at, are issues related to chargeback, related to customers disputing that they have used their card for a particular transaction. So we even cover that.
Would you say that every company should have some type of anti-fraud policy?
Absolutely, Tatiana, because I think in today's world, and as more and more dollars, because every organization is looking to have higher acquisitions, growth, and wherever there is growth, there is bound to be fraud, because money attracts money. You cannot operate without having a very robust and a solid anti-fraud system in place.
What kind of policies are worth implementing for organizations?
So policies, it depends on what kind of business you're in. But typically, if you're a digital organization and if this is the way that you're spending your marketing dollars or the acquisitions, I think the policies are more related to having some sanity checks in place in terms of what you pay for should be genuine customers, or the customers which are, let's say, downloading your app or transacting. It's a clean ecosystem that you build, because one bad apple into your ecosystem can lead to multiple kind of frauds, multiple kind of risks in the whole place, and thereby putting even your brand and your genuine customers at risk. So I think this is a great if you look at any of these industries, whether it is, if you look at carrier billing industry for that matter. Now, carrier billing industry for a telco is a massive industry, because I don't want to look at it only from a dimension of fraud. Let's look at every industry from the perspective of growth. So digital is an amazing probably technology and a way to really grow your business, to acquire clients, because you can really touch base with anyone and everywhere in the world. So it's a great growth strategy. The only thing that we need to be probably cognizant and mindful of is that we really understand that there could be potential frauds that are happening, and we need to de-incentivize that stuff. And the only way you can do that is to have the anti-fraud systems in place, so that we can help you sift between what you really are looking for and what is unnecessary. And thereby, this helps you to build a sense of trust with your end user. The user feels safe. When I'm transacting on a particular platform, I know that my credentials are safe. I am in good hands, and that also kind of gives you a leadership position in terms of technology, in terms of the brand.
How do these anti-fraud systems operate? So do clients come to you and you create the systems?
It is typically a very customized kind of a strategy that we sit with the client and work out. Now, the areas are pretty clear. So we all know how the various pieces work. So if it's acquisition, we understand. If it is carrier billing, we understand that part. If it is the user onboarding or the sign up, we understand that process. If it is the in-app transactions and the transaction validations that are required, we understand that journey. And if it is a post-transaction part, we understand that part. So we have a fairly standard solution in each of the spaces. But yes, every client's requirement could be a little different. So there is always scope to customize some bit depending on the need, depending on the user flow, the user journey, and the geography involved, because there is also the regulatory that comes in various parts of the world. So the regulatory impact could be a little different for different regions of the world, and we need to comply with the lands of the law.
Nilay, thank you very much for structuring all the information about fraud system and how your business in particular could help to solve all the issues. We're grateful for this conversation.
Thank you, Tatyana. It's been a pleasure to speak to you.